Hello there, welcome back to the channel. This is Nerd World, where I'm going to be looking at nerdy things every day-ish, as much as I can do, between this and my other channels. And today I'm looking at the Tholian vessel, warship, fighter, who knows what its actual classification was. I'm going to go with Tholian Ship, as seen in the 22nd century, encountered in 2152 by the NX-01 Enterprise. Starfleet's first Deep Space Warp 5 capable vessel would come under attack from these ships, and we're going to learn a little bit more about them. Also, mentioning that today's video is brought to you, quite rarely for me, by one of my sponsors, and that will be the Beard Struggle, but I will talk about them more later. With all that said, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and let's get into the Tholian Ship. As stated, these ships were encountered by Starfleet in 2152. A small assault force of these vessels was sent out from Tholian space, a rare voyage into far-flung territory for the extremely isolationist and xenophobic species. They live in extremely hostile environments to most humanoid life, with the interiors of their ship at an eye-wateringly hot temperature. And the Tholians themselves simply cannot survive in lower temperatures. Anything more would crack their crystalline structure and cause them to basically explode. Their ships are equally weird as a reflection of this. Of course, controlling the internal environment of their ship is not a problem. I'm sure Starfleet would equally be able to make the interiors of their ships just as hot. It's just that Starfleet doesn't want to kill all of its crew by doing it. The vessels don't appear to be constructed of anything special to maintain this temperature. However, we have to assume that Tholian coolant systems are also extremely advanced, because if you really think about it, in the vacuum of space, basically heat is condensed away with air. In space, there's very little of that. Very little. So basically the convection of heat from the vessel would be quite important to prevent the vessel continually overheating. And this isn't something that's often addressed in Star Trek, but it is mentioned from time to time, and we have to assume that the Tholians have amongst the most advanced coolant systems in the quadrant, because in order to radiate away enough heat from their ships to make the vessels maintain operational status, while still maintaining the extraordinarily high temperatures within the ship, would have to be some fearsome coolant systems. It's not just going to be liquid nitrogen cooled, it's going to be something far colder to radiate away that amount of heat. All the same, the Tholians seem to have managed it. The ship's exact warp capability is unknown, but it's known that they can easily outrun the NX-class Enterprise, which has a maximum warp at this time of, if we're being generous, 5.2 for a short period of time. So these ships clearly have superior warp capability. Their exact size is a little vague, but they are clearly maybe only, I would estimate, probably in the region of about 20 meters in length. They're not much bigger or smaller than that. They're not much bigger than the Sulawan cell ships that they would engage later. Now, these vessels will be seen to overwhelm a Vulcan combat cruiser. Now, it's not known if the Vulcans managed to destroy any of the attacking Tholian ships. We can assume, as the Vulcans are much more advanced people than Earth, they probably gave them a few licks back, but just a few of these ships, despite their small size, were able to easily overwhelm the much larger Vulcan vessel, indicating a far higher degree of technological advancement by the Tholians. Okay, quickly, something I forgot to mention while editing this video. The Tholians possess some form of energy dampening weapon, probably not unlike that one used by the Breen 200 years later, which could explain why they were able to overwhelm such larger and theoretically more powerful starships like a Vulcan cruiser. Forgot to mention it, so here it is. As well as a good tactical awareness of races that aren't as aware of them as they are of the race they're attacking. That sentence got away from me. But the Tholians clearly had many advantages in this area and were able to easily overwhelm the Vulcans. The armament of these ships seems to be a type of energy disruptor of some kind, but it is extremely powerful, capable of firing on beam and pulse form. It's not believed that the ships carry any form of torpedo technology, but they are both warp and impulse capable and defended by shields. This is pretty standard. One technology they do seem to lack is transporters, as they require to physically board the Enterprise. Now, to quickly interrupt that with my sponsor. Today is the beard struggle. If you didn't know, I have a beard and it requires more maintenance than you would imagine because it is glorious, and to keep it glorious it requires the very best products. Now, I am very particular about what things I use, and I have used other brands, and I do find that the beard struggle, mostly initially they caught my eye because their adverts and those things kind of amused me and entertained me. As a lover of history, I kind of like the Viking theme they go with, but that's not enough to sell me on something. I tried a couple of their products, I really liked them. I tried a few more and I liked them as well. So I'm not going to tell you like it, try it just because I say so. I'm going to say follow the link down below, check out their website. If you like the things, if you like the look, try ordering it. You'll get a 15% discount for your first order by following my link down below. And happy shopping. And have a glorious beard. Back to the video. Although we don't actually ever see them board the Enterprise, we can assume they were probably planning to use some kind of all-environmental suit because they wouldn't have been able to survive aboard the Enterprise, and there's no way they could have flooded the ship quick enough with its atmosphere. That would be my guess, unless they had some kind of ability to project their atmosphere, which would be kind of cool actually. But we don't know that. Things we do know for certain: these ships are extremely rugged, very fast and very durable. They were able to easily engage and overwhelm a Vulcan cruiser, allegedly, and then they were able to engage and disable the Enterprise while suffering minimal damage and no losses, and then were able to engage an entire fleet of Suliban cell ships, vessels that in their own right are pretty powerful and have been seen to overwhelm Klingon ships, Starfleet vessels, Vulcan ships, you name it. And the Suliban was simply dealt with. As far as we can tell, none of the Tholian ships were destroyed or suffered any significant damage in that engagement. And they were then able to continue their assault on the Enterprise. It wasn't until the Enterprise saved the day by basically returning the target of the Tholians' attack to its own timeline, which is its own story to do with the temporal Cold War. But needless to say, once their target was gone, the Tholians, to be fair, simply left and seemed that they were going to be true to their word. If the Enterprise had simply handed over the ship in the first place, they likely would never have attacked it and just let it on its way. However, we can't be certain of that, but it would seem logical. The Tholians, despite being randomly aggressive, do seem to be very deliberate in what they say and do. Other capabilities of this ship are completely unknown, as is many things about Tholian technology. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that the ship did not have web-spinning capability. And I know, shocking, it's the thing the Tholians are most well known for, and if you're not aware what that is, when Captain Kirk encountered the Tholians and accidentally went into their space, they surrounded his ship with something known as the Tholian web. Now, this is a technology that's a combination of tractor beam, force field, and energy projector system in its own right. It's basically, in essence, it's a type of extremely advanced tractor beam. That's, in effect, what it is. And the Tholians were able to weave this web around the crippled Enterprise and encase it. Now, the reason I say that the 22nd century versions didn't have this capability was because we do see a very similar, if not identical, class of ship in use in the Mirror Universe, which is engaged by the ISS Enterprise. Now, the ISS Enterprise is a significantly more powerful offensive warship than the Enterprise, which isn't actually USS. But it is more powerful in the Mirror Universe. Now, the Tholian ship also seems to be very powerful, but is no match for the Enterprise. In that universe, a single Tholian ship is an easy prey victim. Although several Tholian ships would be successful in destroying the Enterprise in that universe, but it was only after they surrounded it by a Tholian web, and thanks to a disabled cloaking device, the Enterprise was not able to decloak and utilize its full offensive and defensive capabilities, forcing the crew to abandon ship. But that's the Mirror Universe. Now, we do see them project this web, but the thing is they project it. They sort of fire out the beams, it creates the web around the ship. That is much faster and more efficient and clearly more advanced than what the Tholians were utilizing in the 23rd century in the Prime Universe. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, maybe controversially, that they didn't have that ability at all in the Prime universe, because I don't believe that technology seems like a regression from what they were using in the 22nd century to what they were using in the 23rd. So my guess would be the Tholians of our universe were not as advanced as the Tholians of the Mirror, but that could be the same for the Terrans. The Terrans were significantly more advanced than Starfleet in the Prime, at least in tactical systems, and the Tholians clearly were too. Their tactical systems were more advanced. It's unknown if those Mirror Universe Tholian ships would have been as effective against the ISS Enterprise if it had been in full fit fighting mode, not cloaked and able to actually engage them directly. But that's a different video. That's a completely different speculation. In this case, I'm going to say that. So they didn't have that ability. I'm going to go on that and say it. And I can't find anything canonical that says that they do. Although, if you go to Memory Alpha, it does mention it. It only really mentions it in reference to the Mirror Universe class of this ship. So, I don't think they did. But let me know in the comments below. If you disagree with me, that's fine. By all means, engage in a conversation about it, because I like these kinds of speculations about Star Trek. It's one of the beautiful things about it, being able to talk about the franchise and speculate about different aspects of it that aren't necessarily so clear-cut. Within the Trek universe, we know a lot more about Starfleet, especially the Prime Universe Starfleet, than we do about any other faction. We know quite a bit about Klingons, the Dominion, the Cardassians, yes, but not compared to what we know about Starfleet. And the Tholians are deliberately kept mysterious every time they appear. So, anyway, that brings us to the end of this video on the Tholian ship of the 22nd century. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Do you remember the episode? Did you like the episode? Where did the Tholians fit into the Temporal Cold War? And let me know if you'd like to see me do videos on the Temporal Cold War, because I'm kind of tempted, but I don't know if there's really it'll be probably a series of them, so I don't know if that's something people want to see. If you do, let me know in the comments below. And also check out my sponsor, who I linked in the description below. To be a struggle. With that said, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.